Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. Let's have another spreadsheet video. Let me tell you what I've done here. I've taken every Pokemon set from the black and white era, which was 2011 to 2013, every set from the XY era, 2014 to 2016, and the Sun and Moon era, 2017 to 2019. And I've basically gone through on TCG Player, I've pulled up what their current market prices are, and then I've calculated based on the day that I took those prices off of TCG Player, assuming some amount of selling fees when you were to sell these, and assuming some kind of basis cost. What would your compound annual growth rates be on every one of these products going back to 2011? So 2011 through 2019, I cut out the Sword and Shield era, which is the current one, and just did these three previous eras. Now, this is to kind of drive home a point that I try to make a lot, which is you don't have to be good at this. You don't have to be smart. You just have to be patient. Most TCG products do pretty good in the long run, and you can see that in these compound annual growth rate numbers. You know, going back to these products from 2011 to 2013, 30, 27, 35, 44, 52% compound annual growth rate. Now, let me explain real quick. These ones that are highlighted in yellow, there was no market data, meaning that there had been no sales of these products on TCG Player in so long that TCG Player no longer offered the market data. So the market price is some kind of decaying average of recent sales. And so if too long of a period goes on without a sale on TCG Player, it will no longer offer a market price. And so instead, the yellow ones are just what is the current sales price, the offered price from sellers on there. Now, these two that are red means there weren't any for sale and there was no market pricing. So I have no data for those. So if you want, you can ignore all the yellow ones because you might say, Craig, well, none of these have sold recently. We haven't had any good price discovery of late. And so we don't really know what the current value is. And, you know, that may be a fair argument. I certainly would not violently argue against you on that. I would definitely entertain it. So if you want, just look at the ones that are not highlighted. And even then, 27, 37, 47. And, you know, if you're not familiar with compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 30% means that every single year you held this, it increased another 30% over what it started the year at. And so when you're talking about boxes that came out 12, 11 years ago, 30% growth per year, 11 times. And so you get from an assumed basis of $100 if you had to buy all these boxes at $100, and today it's $2,400. So, you know, when we talk about stock market returns, if you can consistently make over a decade in the stock market, most people will say 10 to 12% is really nice. I mean, that's pretty good. That's about the upper limit of what you can make without taking on ridiculous amounts of risk in the stock market. 10 to 12%. And yet here we are with these Pokemon boxes, and the average for the black and white era was 38.7%. Okay, now that's just doing a simple average of these. Okay, it doesn't try to take into account the different time periods and find the overall compound annual growth rate if you had bought one of these each when they first came out. No, it's just a simple average. Okay, and then the XY era, similar thing. You know, if we got so low as 16.2% compound annual growth rate in the stock market, we would be rock stars. If we could do that for 6, 8, 10, 15 years in a row, we would be so happy in retirement. But here we are, Pokemon products, the worst one in the XY era is 16% compound annual growth rate. And what do they top out? Is this 46 the top one? It looks like it. So average here, 28.5%. And then the same thing for the Sun and Moon era. And the reason I went through these three eras that cover 8 years of releases is to show nothing fundamentally changed over this whole time period. You know, average 38, average 28, average 36. Nothing fundamentally changed. It had 8 years for maybe Pokemon USA to mess up, for markets to go through cycles, for print runs to be hopelessly expanded, for any type of argument of some reason why people might think this will not hold in the future. You know, if you think that these kind of returns are gone, the easy money has been made, the opportunity is over, it falls on you to give a really good explanation for why you think that is. What has changed fundamentally in the Pokemon market to make returns like this that are very good returns? For over 8 years, what makes these disappear today? If you were to go out and you were to buy even stuff like Battle Styles, but, you know, Chilling Reign, Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Lost Origins, Astral Radiance, all of the current products, if you were to go out and buy those today, you've got to come up with a really good reason for why you think they won't have these kind of returns in the future. And overall average for all of it was 34.5%. Again, that's just a simple average. That's not trying to do some kind of like separate time periods for each one and figure it out. But the point of all this is, again, you do not have to be smart. You don't have to beat everybody else. You don't have to have the best ideas. You simply have to be patient. And, you know, yeah, getting in at a lower basis price helps. And I've set this up. Maybe you had a card store and you put some back. And so your basis price was 80. Well, then your average goes up to 39% compound annual growth rate. But, you know, even worst case, let's assume you're just a guy and you just buy boxes and you get them for about $100 each on average. Sometimes you'll have to pay a little more. Sometimes you pay a little less. And let's assume worst case, selling fees aren't 12.5%. Let's say one day you just sell the whole thing in bulk to Rudy and you take a 50% haircut. Your return was still 22.2% compound annual growth rate. Compared to the stock market, you're still just unfathomably excited with that kind of compound annual growth rate. And so, you know, we should expect these kind of returns into the future. We should expect the same kind of, you know, variability over time, 31%, 18, because we've set it up this way. If we go back to 12.5, which is kind of my baseline assumption percent that I always use. But, you know, we should expect these kind of variable returns over time, high 20s into the 30s. You know, occasionally a set will have a 50% return, and there's no fundamental reason to think that's changed. And I get frustrated when I see people say that the easy money has been made, because that's never true. Particular easy opportunities in small groups of assets, yes, sometimes their days have passed. Things like alpha and beta singles. Yeah, the quick money in alpha and beta singles has been made. There's still plenty to be made in the future, but there's always more opportunity in different products. There's always more expansions being released. I mean, we know that with Magic. There's a new expansion nearly every month. Pokemon has 4 regular expansions a year and 1 to 2 kind of sub-expansions, you might say, where they don't release booster boxes, but they release all the rest of the products. And so there's always more opportunity. And like I always say, markets are going to continue to expand. Populations will continue to expand. The number of people who are interested in these products will keep growing for decades to come. And a lot of folks who are my age, who were kids in the 90s when Pokemon first came out, now we've got money. Now we have disposable income to do what we want. And maybe some of them channel a tiny bit of that into Pokemon. So even the amount of money being flowed into this market is going to go up over time. And so you might even expect on the long run that these compound annual growth rates could expand a tiny bit more. I definitely wouldn't make any bets on that, but I do think that CAGRs in the 20 to 30 to 40% range are just kind of reasonable to expect. So, like I said, it's frustrating when people take a pessimistic view and say that it's all over and that there's no money to be made. Those people are definitely going to regret that in the long run. But if you can be a patient investor, if you can buy a little bit of everything, cast the wide thin net, like I always say, buy just a standard amount of every expansion of Magic and Pokemon, this is the kind of gain that you expect to see over the long term. And I mean really long term, you know, out to 11, 12 years. You'll see these kind of incredible gains. So, you know, I beat this drum once in a while with data like this. Otherwise, I just kind of say it again and again without supporting data in between. So let me know what you think, guys. I appreciate all of you watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.